James Scullin,
the 9th Australian to be Prime Minister.
and the Labor Party's 4th may have been its unluckiest. Winning office just as the Great Depression began destroying economies around the world. Facing increased debts, he inherited massive unemployment and falling prices for Australian goods. The economy consumed the Scullan government. The Labor Party became divided on how to deal with the worst economic crisis of the 20th century. British banks, who had loaned money to the Australian government, wanted to be repaid on time. Some members of the Scullan government wanted to delay these repayments and use the money to keep Australians employed. Others wanted to repay on time. Scullan had to cut back on the amount his government was spending. With a divided Labor Party and not controlling the Senate, Scullan called an election in 1931, in which he was badly defeated by the United Australia Party, led by his former colleague, Joseph Lyons.
The 10th Australian to be Prime Minister.
Joseph Lyons had been the Labor Party Premier of Tasmania from 1923 to 1928 and a member of Scullan's Labor government. But he left the Labor Party to form the United Australia Party and won the election in 1931 convincingly. His government was supported by the business community and took an orthodox approach to the ongoing Great Depression, which meant cutting government spending drastically. Personally popular, known as Honest Joe, he went on to win elections in 1934 and 1937. Lyons became the first Australian Prime Minister to die in office on the 7th of April 1939. He had 12 children with his wife Edith, who went on to become the first woman elected to the House of Representatives in 1943. Earl Page,
The 11th Australian to be Prime Minister.
and one of 3 to hold the position only for a very short period of time as a caretaker. Page was acting Prime Minister for 3 weeks after the death of Joseph Lyons. He was the leader of the Country Party and was replaced as Prime Minister by Robert Menzies.
The 12th Australian to be Prime Minister.
Robert Menzies has been called the nation's most successful politician. He was national leader twice, first becoming Prime Minister in 1939 as leader of the United Australia Party. Menzies authorised Australia's entry into World War II. The war had the country's support, but he did not. He lost his majority in the 1940 general election, and as a result there was a hung parliament, 36 seats for Menzies and 36 for Labor with 2 independents. Losing a vote of no confidence, he resigned as Prime Minister in 1941. But that was not the end of his political career. We will return to Menzies later.